Hey guys! Tonight we step into a world where whiskey breath fills the air, revolvers settle grudges, and a man's reputation walks into a saloon 5 minutes before he does. You're in the Wild West, but not the dusty desert kind. This is the muddy, pulsing river frontier, where fortunes shift as quickly as the current, and a single hand of cards might buy you a new life, or dig your grave. You're standing at the edge of Natchez, Mississippi, 1867. The docks creak under your boots, thick with the scent of tar, sweat, and river rot. Steam curls from the stacks of a looming riverboat, its paddle wheel groaning like some half-awake beast. Overhead, gulls scream like they've just seen what's coming next for you. And friend, you probably won't survive this. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. Drop your location and local time in the comments. I love seeing where y'all are listening from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You arrive with little more than a tattered coat, a silver pocket watch that doesn't tick, and a name people either mutter with respect or not at all. Folks call you the Reverend, which is funny, because you're anything but holy. The nickname stuck after a preacher accused you of cheating in a Kansas poker den and wound up baptizing himself in whiskey instead of water. It's not your fault he couldn't handle losing. The Mississippi riverfront is no place for delicate souls. Here, the law's a suggestion, not a rule. The real power brokers wear waistcoats and keep derringers tucked beside their cigars. Men don't duel because they hate each other, they duel because there's pride, money, and a room full of spectators who paid for blood. Your plan tonight is simple. Find a game, win enough to buy your way upriver, and disappear. You've done it before, but there's a weight in the air, the kind gamblers call bad weather, even when the sky's clear. You feel it in your knees, in the way the piano music from the saloon slips off key when you walk in. You're being watched. The saloon's got that swampy heat to it, the kind that makes shirts cling and tempers fray. Men glance up from their drinks like hounds scenting trouble. A lady in a bright green dress sizes you up, then disappears into the shadows. She'll be important later, but right now, you don't know that. You take your seat at a game in the corner, 5 players, 3 already sweating, 1 stone-faced. And the last? Well, he grins like the devil and his eyes shine too much. Calls himself Langdon Pike. You've heard the name. Southern aristocrat turned gambler. Some say he fought in the war. Others say he profited from it. Historians still argue whether he smuggled cotton or bodies across the river. He tips his hat to you. Heard of you, he says. The Reverend. They say you pray before you cheat. You smile without humor. Only when the stakes are worth salvation. The cards fall, the whiskey flows, and with every hand, the pot swells. You win, then lose, then win again. Pike watches you the whole time, his fingers never far from the ivory grip of his sidearm. You bluff with a king high and he folds a full house. He's not stupid, but he is proud. An hour passes, maybe more. You're up $200 and 3 souls who swear they'll never play against you again. Pike lights a cigar and leans in. Double or nothing, he says. 1 hand. Loser calls the terms. That's not usual, not out here, and certainly not with men like Pike. But the room stills, the piano stops. You feel every heartbeat like a drum in your throat. You nod once. He deals. You hold your breath, watching each card fall like dominoes tipped by fate. You draw a flush, hearts beating in your hands. Pike raises an eyebrow, shows 2 pair, and mutters, "Well, damn." Silence. Then someone coughs. Pike's smile is gone. "My terms," you say, but he interrupts. "No, I meant real stakes." You blink. "A duel, on the Belle of Baton Rouge. Tomorrow, at dawn." You feel it again, that weight in your chest. Because this wasn't about cards, it never was. This was bait, and you, proud fool, bit down hard. One curious historical fact most folks forget. Natchez had one of the highest concentrations of free black property owners in the South post-Civil War, which meant the power dynamic here wasn't quite what outsiders expected. Pike, for all his swagger, had enemies of all shades. You wonder briefly if he's setting you up for a trap, or just a good old-fashioned death match. The lady in green appears again. She slips something into your coat pocket and whispers, "If you want to live, find the second stairwell on the Belle." Then she vanishes. Helpful? Maybe. Confusing? Absolutely. As you leave the saloon, the town's gone strangely quiet. Even the river seems to hush itself. You walk toward the looming silhouette of the riverboat, its lanterns glowing dim and spectral in the mist. The Belle of Baton Rouge. She's old but not slow, famous for her gambling deck and infamous for how many bodies the crew have dumped in her wake. You board alone. The air's thick with ghosts, real or imagined. A steward nods at you, says nothing, and disappears below deck. Your room smells of cedar and cold metal. You don't sleep. You don't need to. You just sit with your revolver, your regrets, and the strange feeling that tomorrow, no matter who wins, something inside you's going to die. And friend, let's be honest, you probably won't survive this. You stand on the upper deck of the Belle of Baton Rouge, morning mist curling around your boots like it's trying to pull you off the boat before fate gets the chance. The river's as still as a held breath, and you swear even the frogs have shut up. You'd think this would feel dramatic, like you're in the last act of a Shakespeare play, but it's just cold, quiet, and smells like old rope. Langdon Pike is already there, waiting. He looks crisp, polished boots, immaculate white shirt like he's come to his own funeral dressed to impress the preacher. He nods at you with that slow, southern courtesy that always feels like a threat. His second is a wiry man with a nose like a hawk's beak. Yours? The bartender from last night, who drew the short straw and smells like he's been drinking since. You both know the rules. 10 paces, turn, fire. The boat's captain, clearly uncomfortable with this brand of extracurricular activity, mumbles a countdown. You start to walk. Each step echoes against the wet wood. The bell creaks beneath you like she's warning everyone to stay still. The pistol in your hand is heavier than you remember. It always is when it matters. You reach 10. Turn. Pike's already drawing. You don't think, you just move. Your shot fires first, but his grazes your side. Burns like fire. You drop low, knees buckling, but Pike's not so lucky. His shot missed vital organs. Yours did not. He stumbles backward, clutching his chest, blood blooming through white cotton like a red Rorschach ink blot. And just like that, it's done. No cheers, no outrage, just the groaning paddle wheel beginning to churn again as if time itself wants to keep moving. Pretend this never happened. You exhale, slow and shaky. Your side is bleeding, but not enough to kill you, just enough to remind you you're still alive and someone else isn't. A deckhand covers Pike's body with a tarpaulin. The captain says nothing, just walks away. The rest of the passengers are pretending to be asleep or too polite to mention the shooting that rattled the china. But that lady in green? She's watching. Again. From the upper balcony now, one gloved hand resting on the rail. You finally ask her name. She smirks. May, she says. Just May. No last name. No questions answered. May offers you a flask. You drink without asking what's in it. Tastes like molasses and regret. She gestures to the lower decks. You've made enemies, Reverend. Best not linger. You limp after her. The Belle has secrets you're learning. Below the velvet-draped dining rooms and gambling halls are servant passages, hidden compartments, and a hatch that leads to a skiff no larger than a dining table. She pulls a tarp back with a flourish. You didn't win, she says. You survived. That's not the same. You're about to ask what she means when you hear shouting above. Someone's found Pike. Or maybe someone's realized Pike isn't just a gambler. He was the governor's cousin, or a Pinkerton snitch, or a Confederate gold smuggler. The stories vary. Historians still argue whether he was part of the Klan's river faction or just a man with too many enemies. May shoves you toward the skiff. They won't let you off in Baton Rouge. Take the river. I'll cover for you. It's a ridiculous plan. You do it anyway. The Mississippi current grabs the skiff like a child yanking a toy. You grip the oars, one arm barely working, blood soaking your shirt. May's form shrinks behind you. You're drifting south, toward nothing in particular. The banks blur by. Spanish moss, cypress roots, and fog thick enough to lose a life in. You row until your arms are jelly. Then you drift. Checked into a paddle boat named Minnie. You duck low. The shadow passes. You don't even know whose boat it was, but someone aboard fires a shot into the water just for fun. Welcome to the river, where human life ranks somewhere below poker chips and catfish. Eventually, you reach a bayou offshoot, narrow, thick with reeds and the buzzing sound of bugs with more attitude than sense. You find an old dock, half-rotted, but it holds your weight. There's a shack maybe once used for fishing, or hiding. Inside, you collapse. For a while, you sleep. Fever dreams. You remember a crocodile dung sunscreen recipe someone tried to sell you back in Vicksburg. Real thing, by the way. Ancient Egyptians used it, and no, you didn't buy it. You remember Pike's face. You remember the lady in green, and wonder if she'll be there in the next town, too. When you wake, the sun's high and your sides crusted with dried blood. You're alive. For now. Over the next few days, you settle in. You boil river water, snare some fish, use gunpowder to cauterize the worst of your wound. Not fun, very dramatic, not recommended. You think about what happens next. You can't go back north. Graffley can't go to Baton Rouge. So you drift further. A town called St. Francisville takes you in for a day. You trade your watch for a jacket that doesn't make you look like you've been shot. You shave. You sleep in a bed that doesn't move, but whispers follow you. Someone recognizes your face from a bounty sheet. You're not wanted for murder, yet, but you are wanted for questioning. And down here, questioning can mean a sack over your head and a rock tied to your feet. So you keep moving. A paddle boat named the Magnolia Whisper is heading toward New Orleans. You book passage under a new name, Mr. Elias Grant. You feel clever. It lasts all of 12 hours, because there's someone else on that boat. Someone who watched the duel. Someone who bet on Pike and lost. And this time, they're not interested in cards. The Magnolia Whisper glides south, elegant and slow, like a coffin on vacation. You've changed your clothes, your name, even your voice, adding a slight drawl that makes you sound like a Methodist school teacher with a dark past. But none of it matters when someone knows your eyes. She finds you first. May. Of course it's her. She's leaning against the railing outside the gambling parlor, watching the river drift like it owes her something. When you approach, she doesn't look surprised, just amused. "Mr. Grant," she purrs, "would you like to explain why there's a man in the dining salon polishing a revolver while muttering about a Reverend who cheated death?" You sigh. "I didn't cheat death. I played fair. Death just had a lousy hand." May smirks. "Well, he's not the forgiving type." She doesn't give you his name, but she doesn't need to. You recognize the man that night at dinner. He's wearing a linen suit 2 decades out of date, the kind that says, "I inherited wealth and bad decisions." His nose is red. His hands twitch when he eats, and his eyes, locked on you through the candlelight, are full of vengeance. His name's Archer Delane, cousin to Langdon Pike. Word is he once ran guns for the Confederacy out of a church basement in Georgia. Historians still argue whether Delane ever actually served in the war or just looted battlefields and told good stories afterward. You decide to avoid him. But riverboats are compact things. Eventually, all roads lead to confrontation. It comes 2 nights later. You're leaning over the upper deck railing, watching the moon ripple over dark water. The air is thick with heat and river decay. Delane appears beside you like a ghost made of cigar smoke and bourbon. "I should kill you now," he says. You glance at the moon. "That would be rude. I haven't finished admiring the view." He chuckles, but there's no humor in it. "Langdon was my kin. You took something from me." "I took something from him," you say evenly. "He offered the terms." Delane shrugs. He offered, sure, but you didn't have to say yes. You turn to face him, voice low. Then maybe you should have raised better kin. He flinches, then smiles. It's the smile of a man who's already picked the time and place of your death. The boat docks at a trading post near Plaquemine the next morning. Just a supply stop. Half the passengers disembark for fresh tobacco and gossip. You stay aboard, but May doesn't. She disappears into the crowd, and you feel it, like a protection spell wearing off. By midday, Delane's gone too. You know what's coming. That evening, there's a masquerade, some absurdly cheerful thing the captain insists on. People in cheap silk masks and feathers, waltzing to a fiddle that's seen better days. You wear a mask, too, but masks don't hide the past. Not in a place where rumors spread faster than cholera in a mining camp. Delane finds you on the top deck during the final song. He's in costume now, dressed like a Spanish nobleman, complete with a rust-red sash and rapier at his hip. You glance at the blade. Bit dramatic, don't you think? You mutter. He draws the sword. Cards are for cowards, he says. Real men bleed for their revenge. You want to laugh. He sounds like a theater actor who read too much Dumas. But then he lunges. You dodge left. The blade grazes your shoulder, tearing fabric but not flesh. Guests scream. Someone yells for the captain. But Delane isn't waiting. He comes again, faster. You duck, grab a lantern from the wall and smash it against the rail. Fire flares. He stumbles back, surprised. Not hurt, just startled. But it's enough. You grab his wrist, twist hard. The sword drops. You could kill him. You don't. You say, "Tell them I ran." He looks up at you, furious. "You afraid to finish it?" "No," you say. "Just too tired to keep dancing." And with that, you leap. Into the Mississippi. Into darkness, heat, and filth. The current grabs you like a jealous lover. You tumble, scrape against something sharp. You lose your breath, your sense of direction, everything. Finally, you surface, coughing river water, half blind. The Magnolia Whisper is already drifting away. You let her go. You wash up on a sandbank hours later. It's not romantic, it's muddy, filled with biting insects, and your shoes are gone. But you're alive. Again. Somehow. You trek inland. Eventually, you find an old trapper's shack. Nobody's there, just a rusted musket, a lantern with half a wick, and a Bible missing half his pages. You rest. Stitch your shoulder with fishing line. Laugh once, painfully, at how many times you've bled this week. Days pass. You hitch a ride on a cotton wagon headed east. Trade silence for safety. The driver's a veteran, missing an eye and half his hearing. He talks anyway. Tells you about an old gambler he knew who once bet everything on a hand of 5-card draw and won, then died choking on his own cigar. You're not sure what the moral is, but you nod like you understand. Eventually, you reach a small town called Thibodeau. Quiet place, sugarcane and secrets. You pay a stable hand to pretend you're his long-lost cousin. He doesn't buy it, but he takes your money. You sleep in a barn, smell of hay, horses, and something like home. But you know it can't last. May appears again, like a ghost. Or maybe she was always following you. She sits beside you in the hay, sipping from her ever-present flask. "You keep surviving," she says. "That's either luck or something worse." You ask what she means. She doesn't answer. Instead, she says, "One more bet, Reverend, just one." And you know, in your bones, this next gamble won't be played with cards. The night smells like burnt sugar and gun oil. You're in a cane field outside Thibodeau, the stalks high enough to swallow a man whole, and the moon's doing a poor job of lighting the way. May walks ahead of you, sure-footed and silent, like she knows the ending already. You'd asked what the final bet was. She didn't answer, just told you to follow and not to bring your pistol. It won't help you where we're going. So here you are, bleeding slightly from brambles, walking into a darkness thicker than river mud and wondering, was there ever a moment to turn back? The clearing's small, circular, cut clean as if by blade or miracle. There's a table in the center, a real card table, green felt, 4 chairs, 1 lantern swaying gently from a hook above. Sitting there are 3 people. You don't recognize them. Yet. The man with a gold tooth and fingers stained with tobacco, he's the riverboat captain from the Belle of Baton Rouge. The tall woman with coal-black eyes and a lace veil, you think she was on the Magnolia Whisper once, briefly, in the background. And the third, he looks like Langdon Pike, but it's not Pike, just his twin in shadow. May aches the fourth seat and gestures for you to sit. You don't want to. You do anyway. "What is this?" you ask. "A reckoning," she says, pouring drinks no one touches. "The rules," she explains, "are simple. One hand, no bluffing, no folding, just the truth." The deck's already been shuffled. No one deals. It deals itself. The cards move like they're alive, slapping down in front of each player without a hand touching them. You don't ask questions anymore. Your hand. Queen of spades, 10 of diamonds, ace of hearts, 4 of clubs, jack of spades. May looks at you, serious now. Choose one card to burn. You hesitate. The ace. The lantern flickers. The ace vanishes. The others burn their cards too. Quiet. Ritualistic. Then they each lay their remaining hands face up. Nobody wins. Nobody loses. All the hands cancel each other out, like ghosts colliding in fog. May stands. "It's not about the cards," she says. "It's about what you're willing to let go." You blink. The clearing is empty. No lantern, no people, no table. You're alone in the cane field. It's morning. The birds are chirping. You stumble out of the stalks into the light, heart pounding, unsure if you've gone mad or if you're finally waking up. Weeks pass. You keep moving. Change names like socks. You become a cobbler in Houma for a while, a bartender in Abbeville. For one surreal week, you're the assistant to a blind taxidermist who swears he once stuffed a mermaid. Historians still argue whether the Gulf region mermaid sightings were hoaxes or cultural hallucinations caused by moonshine and isolation. But no matter where you go, the river's still with you. In the way people shuffle cards, in the way paddle steamers groan at night, in the way you avoid mirrors, afraid you might see Pike looking back. One morning you're shaving, badly, and realize something strange. You don't remember what the Reverend was running from in the first place. Was it the law, a woman, a bad hand, or just the kind of loneliness that makes a man gamble his name away for the thrill of hearing someone curse it? You don't know anymore. You just keep moving. Eventually, you find yourself back on a dock. Different town, different boat, but it looks a lot like the Belle. And there, leaning against a crate, is May. Same green dress, same crooked smile. She hands you a ticket. "No more running," she says. You take it. Not because you believe her, but because deep down, you know she's right. You board the boat. It smells like all riverboats do. Wood, wet canvas, and old stories. You don't recognize anyone aboard, but someone recognizes you. An old man with a fiddle gives you a slow nod. A boy selling papers offers you one for free. The deckhand asks your name, and for once, you don't lie. That night, there's another game. You sit down, you play. You don't cheat, you don't bluff, you don't win. And for the first time in your life, it feels like freedom. You wake the next morning with no coin left but peace in your chest and the strange understanding that the river didn't try to drown you. It was trying to teach you how to float. And now, the cards are laid to rest. The boat drifts further downriver, its paddle wheel churning lazy ripples into dark water as dawn stretches across the sky like a promise. You sit alone near the bow, letting the breeze wrap around you, soft and warm as breath. The world is quieter now, softer. You've survived your wager, not with money, not even with your life, really, but with something harder to define, the truth of who you are. Or maybe who you aren't anymore. The ghosts have gone still. Langdon Pike, Archer Delane, May in her green dress, they live somewhere else now. Maybe just in memory, maybe not. You don't need to chase their shadows anymore. You don't need to run from your own. The Mississippi hums beneath you, deep and steady, like it's always known your story, like it forgives you for taking so long to listen. So you close your eyes, and you let yourself drift. Maybe there's another town up ahead, another chance, another quiet life. Or maybe not. But for now, you don't need to know. You're floating. You're free. And sleep at last is calling you like an old friend. So exhale real slow. Let your shoulders drop. Let the breath leave your lungs and feel the weight of the river cradle you into stillness. The gamble's done, friend. You won.